The laughter in the salon was cruel. It wasn't the kind that fills a room, it was the kind that breaks a soul. And when the billionaire's wife looked into the mirror, seeing her shorn hair fall like feathers to the ground, she didn't cry. She simply whispered, "Why would they do this?" No one knew that in less than an hour the laughter would stop. Forever. Mira Lawson never liked attention. Despite being married to one of the most powerful men in the country, Ethan Lawson, the young billionaire who'd built his empire from scratch, she lived quietly. She shopped at small stores, smiled at everyone, and preferred home-cooked meals over fine dining. But what made people gossip wasn't her simplicity. It was her humility. The tabloids called her the plain wife. They said she wasn't fit for her husband. Not glamorous enough, not fashionable, not his type. Mira didn't care. She had once told Ethan, smiling softly, "I'd rather be kind than impressive." And Ethan had loved her even more for that. But not everyone saw it that way. One afternoon, Mira visited a luxury salon her friend had recommended. She just wanted a trim, something light before Ethan's charity event that evening. But when she entered, whispers followed. "Isn't that her?" one stylist murmured. "The billionaire's wife who dresses like a schoolteacher?" Another chuckled. "Yeah, she's sweet, but poor thing, she's clueless about class." Mira pretended not to hear. She smiled gently, handed her coat to the receptionist, and took a seat. Her hair, long, dark, and silky, had always been her quiet pride. "Just a small trim, please," she said politely. But when she was led to the chair, a group of young women, socialites, friends of a rival businessman's wife, noticed her. "Oh my God." One of them, Lana, laughed. "That's Mira Lawson, the charity queen who thinks kindness is fashion." The others giggled. "Should we welcome her?" They approached, all smiles and fake warmth. "Mira, you look so different in person. We were just talking about you." Mira smiled kindly. "That's very sweet of you. It must be so hard," Lana said, twirling her platinum hair. "You know, fitting into high society when you're so simple." The laughter came again. Sharp, hollow. Mira simply said, "It's not hard when you don't try." Her calmness irritated them, and that's when the idea sparked. "Let's do something fun," Lana whispered to her stylist. "She said she wants a trim, right? Give her something unforgettable." Before Mira could notice, the stylist exchanged a glance with the bullies, nervous but afraid to refuse their influence. A sharp buzzing sound filled the air. Mira froze. "Excuse me, what?" Snip! The first lock fell. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, her beautiful hair lay scattered across the marble floor. The girls gasped, then burst into laughter. "Oh my God! It's a new look, Mira. You look like a monk." Her reflection stared back, broken and trembling. The stylist's hands shook. Mira sat perfectly still, tears welling. Not from vanity, but from humiliation. She whispered softly, "You shouldn't laugh when someone loses something they love." But they didn't stop. Someone filmed it. Someone posted it. Within minutes, #SimpleWifeMakeover trended online. And somewhere across town, Ethan Lawson saw it. When his phone buzzed, he was in a board meeting. But when he opened the video, when he saw his wife sitting silently as cruel laughter echoed around her, something inside him snapped. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He simply stood up, his voice cold. "Cancel every meeting. Now." Mira left the salon quietly, scarf wrapped around her head. She didn't call him. She didn't want to burden him. She walked home alone, passing people who recognized her. Their pity stung more than their whispers. By the time she reached the mansion, Ethan was already waiting outside, his jaw tight, his eyes dark. "Mira," he said softly, stepping forward. "Who did this to you?" She looked up, tears trembling. "Ethan, please just let it go. They're not worth it." He brushed his thumb against her cheek. "No, love. They need to learn what worth really means." That evening, social media was a storm. Memes, jokes, edited clips, all mocking Mira Lawson. But Ethan remained silent. He didn't post a statement. He didn't issue threats. Instead, he quietly called his PR team. "Buy the salon," he said. "Sir, buy the entire salon. Every branch, every chair, every wall." Within 3 hours, the deed was done. By midnight, a new sign gleamed above the doors. Myra's House of Kindness, free haircuts for the homeless. The next morning, reporters swarmed the place. Lana and her friends arrived, furious. "You can't just take over." Ethan appeared, calm and composed, Myra beside him wearing a scarf and a quiet smile. "I can," he said simply, "because I own it now." Myra looked at the stylists, including the young woman who had shaved her hair. The girl was crying, trembling. "I didn't want to do it," she said. "They made me." Myra touched her hand. "Then don't let anyone make you cruel again." Her gentleness stunned everyone. Ethan stepped forward. "You mocked my wife because she's simple, but what you call simple I call strong. She's faced humiliation with more grace than any of you could handle in a lifetime." His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. "And as of today," Ethan continued, "this salon will no longer serve the elite. It will serve those who cannot afford dignity." He turned to the cameras. "Kindness isn't weakness. It's wealth you can't steal." That night, while Myra sat in front of the mirror, Ethan came with a small box. Inside was a delicate silver comb. "I bought this for you years ago," he said quietly. "I was saving it for your next birthday. But I think tonight, it belongs to you more than ever." Myra smiled through tears. "Ethan, I'm not beautiful anymore." He knelt before her, eyes soft. "You were never beautiful because of your hair." Days turned into weeks. Myra's story went viral, but not as gossip. It became a message. Thousands of women sent letters, sharing how they too had been mocked, bullied, belittled, and how they found strength in Myra's quiet courage. The same stylists who once laughed now volunteered at Myra's house. The salon's walls were covered with photos of smiling faces. Children, mothers, survivors. Even Lana showed up one day, humbled and hollow-eyed. "Myra, I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling. "I don't know what came over me." Myra looked at her, then offered a chair. "Sit. Let's talk." That moment, that single act of forgiveness, changed everything. Months later, Myra's hair had grown just enough to brush her shoulders. But by then, she no longer cared about mirrors. She cared about meaning. Her new foundation, the Grace Project, funded education and employment for women who'd been publicly humiliated or abused. "I can't erase what happened," she told a journalist, "but I can make sure pain builds something beautiful." The clip went viral again, but this time not because of mockery, because of inspiration. Ethan watched the interview quietly, pride glimmering in his eyes. "You've turned cruelty into kindness, love." Myra smiled. "No, we did." One morning, the stylist who'd once cut her hair, Sasha, arrived with tears in her eyes. "Myra, I got a job offer overseas. I wanted to thank you before I left." Myra hugged her tightly. "Then go. Help others. Make people feel beautiful again." Sasha nodded. "I will. You taught me what beauty really means." At a grand charity gala months later, guests gasped as Myra walked in. Her hair, short, elegant, glowing, framed her face like sunlight. But what made people whisper wasn't her look. It was how the billionaire's wife greeted the very same people who had once laughed at her, with genuine kindness. "Thank you for coming," she told Lana, who was now working with her foundation. "You're still so forgiving," Lana said, amazed. Myra smiled softly. "If you keep holding anger, you'll have no hands left for kindness." That night, as she stood beside Ethan watching hundreds of people donate to her cause, he whispered, "Remember that day at the salon?" She chuckled. "I remember everything. I was going to destroy them," he said. "But you taught me something stronger than power, grace." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Grace isn't weakness, Ethan. It's choosing peace when you could choose revenge." He looked at her, proud. "You are the crown I never deserved." The screen fades to black. a woman once humiliated, a man who chose kindness over power, and a world reminded that the truest beauty isn't what we see, it's what we give.